Okay, so we're here this morning in Coventry to carry out an EGR delete. The customers actually had the blanket plate fitted, but it wasn't deleted from the ECU, the programming that controls it. So we're here to carry out a delete on it today. Unfortunately, this is a ECU off job bench map. We've located the ECU, we'll be removing shortly, but first things first, remove the battery. This saves any potential power surges going to the ECU while we remove. So there we go. We remove the main power. Okay, so we've removed all the security housing and everything around the ECU, and we're now ready to disconnect and remove it from the vehicle. So one by one, just remove the plugs. Okay, ECU is removed. We already know that this is a SID 803, but that there just confirms it. Okay, so let's bang it on the bench, open her up and try and connect. Okay, so we've managed to open up the ECU. It is the 803A as suspected, and these points just here is our connection point. It's the programming pad. With this particular one, we're going to have to solder the adapter on in order to get a connection. They also carry a protective coating, a waterproof coating. Not all ECUs do, but this particular one does. So what we're going to do, just to make sure, we're going to get the fibre pen and we're just going to gently remove the coating from the pads. This enables us to get a solid connection to the programming pads. Helps remove the clear lacquer protective coating that these ECUs have got. Okay, should be good at that. We're just going to set ourselves up to solder the adapter in place and get everything ready. Okay, so we're now all connected up. I've soldered the adapter in place, as you can see. This is connected to the K-type box, power feed in and through there, off desktop power. We're just going to go, we've got everything open on here now. We're just going to click OK, select that, you see the SID 803A, which is the one that we're after. Okay, so we go into the reading and writing. Now what we want to do as good practice is always make a full backup. So before I press the read button, I'm going to apply the power. I've got this set to 14 volts there or thereabouts. For some reason these particular ECUs like the higher end of the voltage, and sometimes won't read if you set it to 12. So we're ready now. We've made the connection, we've done everything we should have. We've pressed the read button, and hopefully, if everything's been done correctly, we should get an identification of the ECU in the bottom corner. So it's recognised it as P78, so we need the P78 plug-in. Okay, so we exit out this is the good thing about this software. If you've not quite got it right, it will tell you. So P78 we're looking for. Okay, so we've selected the plug-in that it asked us to, the P78, and fingers crossed, we're hopefully going to pull some information off this. There we go, it's exactly what we wanted. There you go, it's pulling all the sectors off now, all the data, so that we have got a full backup for this particular vehicle. What we're going to do once this is read and save the data, we'll send it off to the file writers. They'll delete the EGR for us, send back the modified file, and then we'll write it back to this ECU. So as you can see, it's pulling all the data off as we speak. It's pulling the amps that we require, and we're almost done. Okay, so we've now received our file back, and what we want to look at is
we just want to write back to this piece here where it says the maps, because that's the only bit of information that we've messed with. So we're just writing back. We have got a full backup of this particular vehicle, but we're just writing back to the maps. We've had the EGR deleted and the associated fault codes that go along with it. As I said before, the customer's already had the EGR physically blanked with a plate, but unfortunately if you don't delete it from the ECU, its programming still tries to use that particular component, and obviously it's ineffective with the blanking plate. So you do need to blank and delete. Some cars you can get away without having to physically blank. The EGR just stays shut. Once you write out that particular part of the programming, it will remain shut and is as good as a blank. So anyway, we've got this. Let's just apply some power again to our ECU. So we're all powered up, 14 volts, lovely. So I'm going to ask to write, it's going to look for the file, so I know where I've put this one. It's this one here. It's been through a program called SwiftTech, so we double click on that. Alien Tech, the program is just going to make the comparisons and make sure everything's good to go. And fingers crossed, it's just going to start writing to it. Here we go. It's now identifying the ECU, which is a process it'll always go through, just to make sure we haven't changed anything in between. That's it. Flash writing in progress, which is what we wanted to see. We now want to see the sectors come up, being read on the bottom bar and deleted as they go and overwrit. As you can see, the blue bit is it reading it, the red bit is it overwriting that particular sector. Okay, so we've now writ to the ECU with the modification as added. I've now removed the adapter, as you can see. You need to make sure that all the soldered joints, there's nothing left connected, because obviously that's going to cause problems further down the line. So we've got all nice clean pads on there, there's no connections, we've checked everything. There's the adapter off of it, the little pin headers that you have to use for that particular adapter. So we're going to put it back together now and we're going to refit it to the car. Okay, so as you can see, we've now refitted our ECU, plugged all the cables back in. We've not actually put everything back in place. What we want to do now is just to make sure everything's there and the car's going to fire. So we go back round to where we started, looking to put the battery back in place. Connect to positive terminals again. There we go. Okay, battery's connected back up. At this particular point, it's always good practice just to close the vehicle, lock it with a key, and unlock. It just resyncs everything back up into place. So, moment of truth, we make sure that the van fires. Okay, so we've got a dash lights on, which is good, and that's it. She's fired back up. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to start refitting everything and fixing everything back as it should be. Okay, now we've refitted everything. We're just running through a fault code process. So we're going to turn the ignition on the van. We've already selected the right van for it. I'm just going to see what fault codes come up relating to it. There was two that related to the EGR. They've both been deleted along with the programming of the EGR, so these should no longer be apparent on the system. I think there was a P0409 and a 402, I believe. So we've established communication, and we're just going to read the fault codes. There you go. Only one that's now present is heating control relay. Which is absolutely nothing to do with what we've done today. So all in all, a job well done.